For 100 years, every single generation tested smarter than the one before it. Your grandparents scored higher than their parents. Your parents scored higher than theirs. Decade after decade, the line only went one direction: up. Scientists even gave it a name: the Flynn Effect. And then, around 2026, for the first time in 100 years, the line stopped going up. It started going down. Let's back up. In the 1980s, a researcher named James Flynn noticed something strange while looking at old IQ test data. People weren't just doing slightly better on intelligence tests over time. They were doing dramatically better, about 3 points per decade, every decade, in nearly every country that kept records. Stack that up over a century, and you get something wild. If you scored an average IQ today and traveled back to 1920, you test as a near genius. Not because people got smarter overnight, because something about modern life, better nutrition, more schooling, smaller families, more complex environments, kept making every generation a little sharper than the last. For 100 years, that was just how it worked. A quiet, steady upgrade, generation after generation. Nobody thought to question whether it would stop.
Then, researchers in Norway noticed something odd. They had decades of IQ scores from young men entering military service, a huge, consistent data set. And starting in the 1990s, the scores stopped climbing. Then, they started falling. At first, scientists assumed it was a fluke, a measurement error. Maybe the tests were just outdated. But the same pattern showed up in Denmark, in Finland, in the UK, in France. And then in January 2026, a neuroscientist testified in front of the United States Senate with the most direct version of the claim yet. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to score lower than the generation before it. Not on one test, across memory, attention, reading comprehension, problem solving. The line that went up for 100 years had quietly turned around.
Here's what makes this different from most psychology facts. This one is about you, or your kids, or the generation right behind you. If you're a parent, the question is uncomfortable. Is something about how I'm raising my kids making them sharper or duller? If you're young, it's worse. Are you, statistically, less sharp than your parents were at your age? Nobody likes that question. But the data doesn't care what we like. So what changed? Researchers have a few leading theories, and none of them are fully settled. Theory 1. Screens. The reversal lines up almost exactly with the rise of smartphones and social media. Constant notifications, shorter and shorter videos. A brain that's rarely asked to sit with one hard idea for more than a few seconds. Theory 2. Attention, not intelligence. Some researchers argue raw intelligence hasn't dropped, but our ability to focus has. And focus is what most of these tests are actually measuring. Theory 3. We hit a ceiling. A few scientists think the original Flynn effect simply ran its course. You can only improve nutrition and schooling so much. Eventually, the gains run out, and without new gains, scores plateau or slide. The honest answer is nobody knows for certain yet. This is still being argued about right now in real research papers. But the data itself isn't up for debate. Something changed, and it changed fast, within a single generation.
Here's the detail that should actually concern you. These tests are designed specifically to resist outside influence. They're not testing what you were taught in school. They test raw reasoning, pattern recognition, the kind of thinking that's supposed to be locked in by your genes and your early brain development. That's exactly why the Flynn effect was so remarkable in the first place. Environment was somehow moving a number that wasn't supposed to move easily. And it's exactly why the reversal is so strange. If something can drag that number down within a single generation, whatever it is touching something deep. Not just trivia and test scores, the actual machinery of how we think. To be fair, not everyone agrees this is a crisis. Some researchers point out that IQ tests are an imperfect, narrow measure. They don't capture creativity, emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate a world of overwhelming information, a skill no earlier generation ever had to develop. Maybe younger generations aren't getting dumber. Maybe they're getting smarter at things we haven't figured out how to measure yet. That's a comforting theory. But comforting and correct aren't always the same thing. And right now, the actual test scores, the same kind of test that built the entire Flynn effect in the first place, are pointing one direction. Down.
For 100 years, we assumed the line would just keep going up forever. It didn't. And the honest, slightly uncomfortable truth is, we built an entire century's worth of confidence in human progress on a trend that just quietly, recently, broke. Maybe it's temporary. Maybe it's a measurement quirk that fixes itself in 10 years. Or maybe it's the first real sign of something we haven't fully reckoned with yet. Either way, for the first time in 100 years, the smartest assumption you can make is that the next generation might not automatically be smarter than this one. If this messed with your head a little, good. That means it's working. If you want more of these real, slightly unsettling psychology and science explained simply, hit subscribe. That's genuinely the only thing that keeps this channel going. And if you have a theory on why this is happening, screens, attention, something else entirely, drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, some of you have theories I haven't even considered. If this video made you think, even a little, a like helps more than you'd expect. It's the difference between this reaching 10 people or 10,000. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.